What an absolute massacre. The Knicks got rocked in game 4. There is no other way to explain it. From start to finish, the Pacers had the edge, they had the advantage, and they just looked like they wanted it more. They took game 4. The series is now tied, and the Knicks are headed back to MSG for a very important, a critical game 5. It is so important that after Tom Thibodeau left the locker room yesterday, the Knicks had a players-only meeting where they discussed the issues and how they need to move forward. We're going to break down exactly what happened and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks hold a players-only meeting after a horrific loss to Indiana. If I were the Knicks, I would have done the exact same thing. Let's break this down for a second. That exact same roster we put out there for Game 4 had us this close to winning Game 3. So you would figure they would have us very close to winning Game 4 as well. If you thought that, you would be absolutely wrong. The Knicks were annihilated. They were massacred. Indiana came out with the right energy. They were locked in and they were focused. Conversely, the Knicks did not come out with the right energy. They did not look like they were focused. And each and every shot that they took looked wrong. They were not even passing the ball well. I don't know what happened to this Knicks team, but the Knicks team that we know that fights adversity and overcomes all these obstacles, they were not present in Game 4 yesterday. I'm not sure what happened, but I know one thing now. This is absolutely a series. It is tied 2-2, and the Knicks are headed back to MSG. Game 5 at the Garden. They need to win that game so they can close out the Pacers in 6. But as of right now, it is absolutely a concerning time. So concerning that after the game, the Knicks held a players-only meeting. According to Ian Begley, he stated the following. I think the players got together after Tom Thibodeau left the locker room and addressed each other after this loss. Talked about what needed to be cleaned up just as a group. When you lose a playoff game from wire to wire and you get blown off the floor on the road when you're normally a good road team by 30 plus points, you are absolutely going to hold a players-only meeting. You're going to talk about what went wrong, what needs to go right, and the fact that right now this series is tied. It's a legit series again, and now we have to go back to MSG, definitely win that game so we can close out the Pacers. But Game 5, we have to come back with a lot more energy. We have to come back with a lot more fight, a lot more grit, and we have to be that Knicks team that we've always been. When we get punched in the mouth, we normally respond and punch right back. Give them a few haymakers. Yesterday, we got punched and we kept getting punched. We kept taking the punches and we never fought back. And when we thought we could fight back, they just kept hammering us more and more and more. Big shot after big shot, big play after big play. They just looked like the better team yesterday. And we have to admit that. And as soon as we admit that, it'll help us move forward and know exactly what we need to do. In Game 5, we need to be the desperate team. We need to be the team that goes out there like our series life is on the line. Because in my opinion, it is. Right now, it's tied. You do not want to go back to Indiana, down a game, trying to win it in a closeout game for them at home. Because as we've seen, as we know, Indiana at home this year, especially in the postseason, has been damn near unstoppable. You do not want the Knicks to have to deal with that. The Knicks need to take care of business and handle what they need to handle. Right now, the road teams are favored in each and every game to win. So I think the Knicks are likely going to win Game 5. Hopefully they win Game 6. But let's say the Pacers end up winning Game 6 and this series goes 7 because of the home court advantage that the Knicks have, because they didn't duck any smoke. That could lead them to victory and be the advantage that they need to close out this series and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But as of right now, Indiana has absolutely made this a series. And they made a statement. Not only did they beat us, but they destroyed us. And they did it in a playoff game at their home, in a game that absolutely mattered for both teams. That was a clear message and statement not only to the Knicks, but to the entire NBA that didn't believe or think that the Pacers were real. Going to the game breakdown, and shout out to Fred Katz from The Athletic for giving us the following information. Final score, Pacers 121, Knicks 89. As mentioned, the series is now tied 2-2. Jalen Brunson, just a horrific night, off night for him, 18, 3 and 5. Miles McBride, 16, 3 and 5. Burks off the bench was a very good bright spot for the Knicks. He has come alive in these last few games, and I think he's carved out some time, and he's earned some time off the bench moving forward. Burks, 25 and 2. Halliburton, though, 26 and 5. And then TJ McConnell. That man went off on us. Off at least for what he can do. 15, 4, and 10. Get this. The Pacers shot respectively 57, 45, and 88, and led by as many as 43 points in this game. If you were watching this game from start to finish, I am so sorry for you, especially on Mother's Day. I was doing the same thing, but my mom was looking at me half the time and wondering what is going on, and I didn't know what to tell her. Game 5 is in New York on Tuesday. Now, we can overanalyze this or break this down in a number of ways, but quite honestly, quite literally, we got rocked. We got destroyed by Indiana. We just did not show up. That is what it is. I'm not saying the Knicks are not a better team, and I'm not saying the Knicks are not going to win this series. Do I believe the Knicks are still going to win this series? I absolutely do. Knicks in 6. I believe it. The Knicks are going to close out the Pacers in Game 5, go back on the road to Indy in Game 6, and show them why the Knicks are an extremely good road team. They're going to close out Indy on the road exactly like they did to the Sixers. And once that happens, the Knicks are going to send their own message. Do not take us lightly. And if you beat us down, just be prepared for a war, because we're never going to stop, and we're always going to keep fighting until we can't fight anymore. That's what this Knicks team does. I understand. Yesterday's game, we didn't do that. But if you look over the course of this entire season, over this entire postseason, there is one common theme. When the Knicks get hit, they hit back hard, and they usually are very successful. So I anticipate the exact same thing. Maybe that didn't happen yesterday, but you know what? Experience tells me, do not count out these Knicks. Do not count out how they play at home, especially with that Garden crowd. But more importantly, how they respond after getting punched in the mouth and brutally assaulted at this point in Game 4 against Indiana. Because when you lose like that, the way they lost, without really putting up much of a fight, that's not how you want to go out on the road in a crucial playoff game. This is a playoff game, not a regular season game or anything like that. It doesn't matter how many players we have active or available. I said it before. In Game 3, this roster was good enough to make Game 3 an actual game where the Knicks had a chance of winning it. But then in Game 4, we were blown off the floor like that. I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to understand it, and I'm definitely not going to accept it. The Knicks need to be better, and they will be better. You don't call a players-only meeting unless you absolutely need it and you feel it's necessary. The Knicks feel it's necessary after getting blown off the floor in Game 4. I agree with the move. I hope it worked, and I hope in Game 5 they wake up. They come back energized, on the floor, ready, not only to take Game 5, but also to take the Pacers' confidence in the process. We need to make sure that when we win Game 5, that the Pacers have no thought in their heads that when they go back to Indiana for Game 6, that they have a shot in winning that game. That's how badly we need to beat them in Game 5. They gave the Knicks a number of haymakers in Game 4. It's only right that we return the favor and give them our own haymakers in Game 5. And never stop. Never let up. Keep the pressure on them, especially defensively. Make every shot hard for them. Make them have to work for everything. We do that. Keep it a half-court game. Make them have to work in the isolation. Work for each and every rebound that they get. We are going to beat down the Pacers in the exact same way they just beat us down. And they deserve that beatdown. We cannot let this stand. We have to get up off the floor, brush ourselves off, and make sure we return in kind. We cannot let this stand. As a Knicks team that has so much pride in the way we play, we cannot get beat down that way and not respond. We held a players-only meeting. We know we have players available that can win against the Indiana Pacers. Now, we just need to make sure each and every guy understands their role when they're out there, knows what they need to do, and lock in. Jalen Brunson, I'm going to need a superstar performance from you come game 5. Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, I'm going to need those guys to do a little bit more. I know those guys have looked good as of late. They've been hitting big threes, doing the hustle plays, but we need just a little bit more from them because as of right now, nobody else on this team is really going to give it to us, maybe besides Jalen Brunson. And sometimes, given his injuries, he may not have it. So we need other players to step up and make sure they respond if they see other players on this team struggling. If you see our superstar in Jalen Brunson not having the game he needs to have, or he's struggling in some type of way, we need to help him. We need to make sure we give him that confidence. And we need other players to step up and make a bucket, make a basket, or at least make an impactful play. When you're out there, you need to make plays happen because if you don't, you're going to hurt this team. That's what they had the players meeting for. That's what they discussed. And now heading into game 5, I want to see the fruits of that conversation. I want to see what happens now, how focused they are, what's going to be different, what's going to change, because we need a lot of changes headed into game 5 in order for us to close it out in the right way. Because if we don't make changes or we play that same game we were playing in game 4, we are going to be blown out again. And if we get blown out on our home court, on our floor at the Garden, this could be a very bad series moving forward. But I'm not trying to think about that. I'm not trying to put that energy out there. I believe in this team. I believe in the Knicks. I think it's still Knicks in 6, and I feel they're going to take game 5 in a very strong way, make a statement, go on the road, take game 6 against Indiana on the road, and send a message themselves that this Knicks team is for real, next man up mentality is for real, and never, ever count this Knicks team out, because the second you do, you've already made a mistake, and it's going to be a mistake you are never going to recover from. This Knicks team still has what it takes to win this series and go on to the Eastern Conference Finals. I believe that. If you believe it, leave a comment below and let me know how you feel, because honestly, guys, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.